Have you ever met someone, let's say isang bata, nagtatanong siya, bakit, paano, or sino? We have often encountered these kids of keep on asking questions. Even tayo, marami tayong tanong. Pero, did we ever try to consider that these questions is actually related with the term research? Research, if we try to explain it, or we just hear it, it's often intimidating for some because it has been an academic endeavor for majority of the students from junior high school or even up until to the graduate level. So it's important to understand that research is not a rigid process, but it's fluid by nature. Let's try to define the term research. Research is a creation of a new knowledge or the use of existing knowledge to create new product or to use it in a creative way. Example of which, the discovery of a vaccine for a certain disease. That's an example of a product of research. Or for that matter, the discovery of innovative toolkits to identify a certain disease. That's also another example of research. Now, if we define research in relation with information, we have this term that we call information as inquiry. By definition, information as inquiry is seeing research as an open-ended exploration and engagement of a person with information. This is what we call the lifelong journey of a person with information. Every day, nakaka-encounter tayo ng iba't ibang information. Halimbawa, may gusto tayong malaman, may gusto tayong matutunan. Then that raises the question of needing information. There are several steps for us to really formulate or understand our need for information inquiry. And the steps are the following. First is to recognize your information need. It is easy to understand or recognize your information need if you are a student. Bawa, bibigyan ka ng teacher mo ng assignment or ng research activity. That's precisely the one identifiable recognition na kailangan mo ng information. Next, it can be personal inquisitions, personal inquiry. Gusto mo bumili ng bagong cellphone? But of course, in order to have an informed decision, kailangan mong magkaroon ng basic information inquiry about that cellphone. Or for instance, trying to choose kung anong course yung kukunin mo sa college. That is also another example of recognition your information need. Next step, to think about your information need. Thinking about your information need is formulating a central search question. Ifo-formulate na natin siya into a question that is really deemed for an inquiry. So example of which is, for instance, the instructions given to you by your teacher is actually the step to consider. Ano ba yung instructions? Ano ba yung mga binigay sa inyong steps na dapat gawin sa inyong assignment o sa inyong project? Halimbawa, pag bibili ka ng isang cellphone, ano ba yung mga criteria na hinahanap mo sa isang cellphone? That is the second step. Moving forward, the third step in our research inquiry is to read about that topic. The reading about your topic does not really involve a thorough or malalim na paghahanap ng impormasyon, but rather just a basic general research for you to understand kung ano ba talagang meron doon sa gusto mong malaman. This involves a quick search in our search engine, or it can also involve skimming, mabilis na pagbabasa. For that matter, bakit natin kailangan magkaroon ng step na magkaroon tayo ng general idea about a certain topic is for us to develop the fourth step, which is to define keywords. Kapag meron ka ng idea tungkol doon sa information na hinahanap mo, hindi mo na kailangan balikan pa yung third step. You can directly jump to number 4, and most of us, kapag may gusto tayong malaman, we directly jump to the fourth step, which is keywords. Ano ba yung keywords? Keywords are words or phrases that can produce a vast list of information or references relating to the information that we want. The following steps that we can use to develop our definition of keywords, number one is to draw a concept map. A concept map, by definition, is just having the central topic. For instance, bigay tayo ng example. Gusto mo bumili ng bagong cellphone. That is your central topic. Looking for a new cellphone. Now, the subtopics across the concept map are the different brands of cell phones. So, let's provide an example. Apple, Samsung, Huawei, Oppo, those are the subtopics. And underlying that subtopics, each brand of that cell phone has its own features, advantages and disadvantages, whether it be the model, the price, the functionality of each phone. Sometimes, if we try to look at it, if we write it down, mas madali natin ma-visualize na, ito yung information na dapat kong hanapin. If you will not go deeper to that type of activity of creating a concept map, you can actually just plainly produce or understand the related terms. So we have broader and narrower terms. Example, balikan natin yung pagpili ng course sa college. So ano bang interest mo? Ano bang gusto mong malaman pag maghahanap ka ng course ng college? Let's say your interest includes business courses. So that's the general and broad term. If we try to narrow down business courses, we can provide examples of, let's say, business administration. Of course, that's general. We can have major in marketing, major in finance, economics, or even related topics to business administration or related courses to business administration such as hospitality, tourism, and even accountancy. We can actually narrow down deeper the term marketing. Halimbawa, from business administration, narrow down to marketing, pwede pa natin siya i-subdivide to subtopics or related topics such as advertising, product promotion, product development, and promotion. Now, another step to actually enhance or define a definite keyword is through spelling. It might not be considered all the time because kapag gumagamit tayo ng search, the popular language that we use is, of course, American English. But do you know for a fact that we have different varieties of the English language? One of which is, of course, the British English and the American English. What is the difference? Most of them differ in one letter for an spelling. Example, the word behavior. Behavior in American English is spelled without the letter U. But in British English, it's spelled with letter U. And last but not the least for the steps is to consider the source of information. There are a lot of sources of information available. But of course, as a normal person, we tend to look for references or sources of information at our own convenience. But we have to understand that the convenience is not always associated with the credibility of the information na pwede nating mahanap. Pwede nating i-subdivide yung sources of information to the free ones and those that are at cost. Madidiscuss natin sa mga susunod pang topic kung ano yung iba't ibang sources ng information, but let's just try to differentiate the free and those that are at cost. The free ones are those that, of course, can be utilized by plainly using your search engine or just looking over at the collection of encyclopedia that you have at home, or for instance, any book that you have, or even just asking resource persons. They can be credible and not. So that's the risk in using free information. Hindi tayo ganun kasigurado kung totoo ba at pwede ba natin gamitin talaga yung mga informasyon na binibigay nila. Whereas, another example is the subscription-based or information at cost. So most of the time, this information is available from libraries. This can be in the form of databases that have collection of research articles that, of course, referenced and peer-reviewed, and we are quality assured that these information are credible by nature. To sum it up, lahat din natin tatandaan that a successful research inquiry requires a focus of information need. If we will use the 5 steps, tandaan, such as recognize your information need, followed by think about your information need, third is to read about your topic. Fourth is to define your keywords. Last is to consider your sources of information. If we complete these 5 steps, I can assure you that you are ready for your research inquiry.